would ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when arat bin nasi fitnatan faqbidni ilayka ghayra maftun. If there's going to be calamity, civil strife, if there's going to be like what's happening in Sudan right now, may Allah bring them back to their senses. If you have a situation like that, then the Prophet asked to just go back to God. Especially Muslims fighting each other in Ramadan, like really? What's happened to us? Ma'adukum kayfa tahkumun? Where's your uqud? Where's the reason? You're all brothers. Allah made you brothers. Kuntum ala shafa hufratin min an-nar fanqadhakum minha. You were on the pits, and He saved you from that pit. He told us to cling to the rope of Allah. Wa'tasimu bihablillahi jami'an wa la tafarraqu. Don't go into sectarianism over dunya, over politics. Really? This is worth fighting over? Dunya? It doesn't equal a gnat's wing with God. This whole abode, it doesn't equal a gnat's wing with God in relation to what Allah has in the next world. We're in dunya. This is the lowest place. Dunya. And it's not that we don't honor. No, we do. We honor the apotheosis. We honor this incredible display of divine. But dunya, this life of this world, politics, and who's in and who's out, and who's in power and who's not, all of that doesn't equal a gnat's wing with God. The life of this world, all the palaces, all of the dunya, it's nothing, just empty. So Shah Wali Allah said that one of the meanings of this hadith, because Aisha actually, when the Prophet mentioned this, Aisha said, Kulluna nakarha al-maut ya Rasulullah. All of us don't like death. Like, it troubled her. Well, you have an instinct for life. Allah has given you a great instinct for life. And that instinct is there for a reason. And even the body is designed to protect. Once you get into anatomy and physiology and study, I was a critical care nurse. When you actually study what happens when people are in deep physiological distress, the body, people get shot 10 times and they survive. And that's only because the body does all of these things to protect life. Right? It's amazing what it'll do. It'll vasoconstriction to stop the blood from spilling out, all these things. So he's not saying that we have to honor the gift of life, but we have to recognize the gift of death. And one of the things the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, he said about the latter days, he said, that the time is coming when the nations, and he meant al-Yahud wa Nasara. It's very clear, because he said, وَمَنَ النَّاسِ لَهَؤُلَاءِ. He said the Christians and the Jews will gobble you up like diners come to a plate. They'll just gobble up all your natural resources. It's very interesting that the Sahabi did not say amin katharatihim. He didn't ask about them. He wasn't interested in why they were able to do it. He wanted to know what's wrong with us, because that's the only thing you can fix. You can't fix them. So it's a brilliant question. But it was logistical. It wasn't the spiritual. He was looking at the material. He was looking at the logistics of it. أَمِنْ قِلَّةٍ يَوْمَئِذٍ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ بَلْ أَنْتُمْ كَثِيرُونَ. No, you're multitudes. It's not lack of numbers. It's not your problem. وَلَكِنَّكُمْ غُثَاءٌ. But you're like froth. You're insubstantial. كَغُثَاء السَّيْلِ. Like the flood that brings up all that foam. You reach out, there's nothing there. And he said that the awe, the mahaba that the people had for you as a civilization will be lost, because they were in awe of us. They had great fear of the Muslims. They were in awe of the Muslims. He said that will be gone. All that awe will be gone. وَلَيَقْذِفَنَّ اللَّهُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمُ الْوَهْنَ. And you will find in your hearts wahan. They said, what's wahan, Ya Rasulullah? Because wahan in Arabic means weak, but they want to know what's the weakness. كراهية الدنيا حب الدنيا وكراهية الموت. Materialism and detesting death. So that's what he's talking about, is that once you recognize the gift of death, you should want a long life. The Prophet asked for a long life. The Prophet gave us things to increase life. Bir al-walidain. He said, Bir al-walidain yuzidu fil umr. Being good to your parents, filial piety will actually increase your life. The Prophet said, let none of you desire death. He said, you're either somebody who's got sin that you need to do good to wipe it out, or you're doing good and you can add more and have a higher maqam in the afterlife. So it's important that you understand that but this is what he's saying is so important, because the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-mawtu tuhfat al-mu'min. Death is the precious gift of the believer.